Nobody is watching this loser, man. Nobody. Again, they're spinning this to try to make themselves out to be the victim. Don't buy into it, guys. It seems like the whole left-wing media is in a frenzy about this Jimmy Kimmel losing his position for just a few days. But none of these guys, none of them stood up when Donald Trump and so many other conservatives were bounced from Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and even YouTube channels. You got Loomer that was bounced out. Nobody cared. But now all of a sudden it's a First Amendment issue, and they're wanting to run around with this faux rage of why did the right, the FCC was able to get Jimmy Kimmel taken off the air. And it seems like now ABC, the parent company of ABC is Disney, has had a lot of conversation with old Mr. Kimmel and saying, "Oh well, we don't know if he's promised to be on good behavior or what's going to happen. We're going to find out very shortly, as soon as he comes back with his opening monologue." But I want you to watch how CNN responds to this and reflect back to exactly how they treated our wonderful president, Mr. Donald Trump. Roll the clip.
Disney is bringing him back on the air tomorrow. ABC says in a statement that we made the decision last week to suspend production to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment. But now, after having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, the ABC says we reached the decision to return the show on Tuesday. So Kimmel's getting back to work.
Wow, Brian, that is significant, especially given that some of the players outside of Disney in a corporate setting, like Nexstar and Sinclair, they essentially have deals that allowed them to preempt his show, and that's part of the reason that it was suspended. Yeah. Do we know how they might react to this?
We don't, and that becomes the big question now. Will these local station affiliates choose to air Jimmy Kimmel Live, or will they continue to protest the comedian, even though the network is bringing him back nationwide? ABC does gently chastise Kimmel in this statement. The statement says, quote, "The decision to suspend him, we made it because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive." So they're very gently saying they disagreed with Kimmel last week, but obviously they're bringing him back as of tomorrow.
And we don't know, obviously, all of the considerations that went into this, Brian. But I would say leaders, obviously, at ABC and Disney have had the benefit of a few days of feedback.
Yeah. Including from Disney employees who were very disturbed, including from Hollywood stars and showrunners, the kind of people Disney wants to work with, and from free speech groups, politicians, even some Republican politicians like Ted Cruz. We know the condemnation of Disney has been widespread. Now, what we don't know yet is what the counter reaction will be from President Trump and his allies.
That's a really good point. Brian, please stand by. Terry, your reaction to this news?
It's great news. It's great news. And I think you're absolutely right, and Brian is absolutely right. This was a community standing up for the rights of Jimmy Kimmel and all people who speak in public, entertainers and we're journalists and all of them. And it worked, at least with the head of Disney. And it makes good sense because they would have won in court. One thing that gets lost in this, you do not lose your First Amendment rights because you have a broadcast license. The Supreme Court has been clear on this. The government cannot take your license because of speech they don't like.
You were talking about Katharine Graham when the news broke, and these are the considerations.
Hold on a second, bro. This is exactly what I'm talking about. None, absolutely none. So you got this clown up there saying, "Oh, this is a great thing." Where were they at when Laura Loomer got bounced? Where were they at when Donald Trump got bounced? Where were they at when Alex Jones got bounced? Every single one of them saying, "Look, you can't go out here and just talk and spread disinformation." Right? You remember that? Remember how they lectured us about you can't spread disinformation? So Facebook, Meta, and they'd all say, these are private companies. They have a right to take down who they want and moderate the content whichever way they see fit. But now they're saying, yeah, this is great. The hypocrisy of the Democrats is unbelievable. Jimmy Kimmel's show is washed up. Nobody watches that idiot, man. You've got 15 or 20 old boomers laid out at night that forgot to turn the TV off that just has his show playing in the background while they sleep. Nobody is watching this loser, man. Nobody. And now everybody is pissed off about it. And what's fascinating about it for us is that we're watching this kind of in reverse, right? So we remember, right? Deion Sanders said a lot. We brought receipts. We remember the way that everybody was treated, and now they want to have this faux outrage. And the Hollywood's mad, so let's bring him back. I love it. I mean, his first show back is going to be the highest rated show. Let's don't forget though. Here's what I would compare this to. When you remember when Mika and Morning Joe, when they pulled Morning Joe Scarborough off the air because they were worried about his reaction to a particular event, and they only kept him off the air a day or two, I believe it was. Everybody's like, oh my gosh. Let me ask you this, and this is the way I look at it. What is the difference in ABC or Disney pulling Jimmy Kimmel for a little while just to let the temperature settle down because this fool's such a hothead and it's going to cost them millions of dollars? What's the difference in that and let's say a linebacker in the National Football League getting pulled from a game and suspended because of his actions throughout a game? What's happening is athletes are pulled from their employment because of their actions, and it's healthier for the entertainment experience in the game to remove those guys and let them calm down, think about what they've done. It's the exact same thing. Jimmy Kimmel got a suspension. He fouled out, and they put him on the bench for a little while. Now he's going to be coming back in and seeing what this idiot can produce. Nobody's going to watch this fool. What else did these idiots say?
Of these bigger companies about how they're going to handle this and how they're going to think about it. They do have the benefit of some history as they do consider these moves.
Right. Well, Katharine Graham, when Nixon threatened to take her FCC, the Washington Post FCC licenses, they had some local stations. It was a main source of income. She published them anyway. She said, forget about it. And that kind of corporate courage is rare, especially in the face of an administration that exceeds by many orders of magnitude any other presidency trying to silence speech it doesn't like.
If we still have Brian, I want to go back to him because one of the interesting bits of reporting that we got over the last few days was that Kimmel was actually preparing a monologue that would up the ante against some of the feedback that he got from the Trump administration.
Violence.
I mean, can you imagine, Brian, what might be formulating in terms of a response when he gets back on the air?
Right. Kimmel wanted to defend himself. So now Tuesday night's monologue becomes even more interesting. What he will be critical, and it might affect what local stations decide to do going forward.
Yeah, certainly will. I want to know what you think, Terry, about just sort of the moment that we are in when it comes to free speech. And I also want to play a moment from the White House press briefing today. This was a correspondent for Turning Point USA Frontline, associated with the group that Charlie Kirk founded, who asked the White House press secretary what her message is to Americans who are too afraid to express their beliefs. Here's a brief part of what Caroline Levitt said.
We have a right to free speech in this country. The president supports it. It is protected by our beautiful Constitution. And Americans should not cower in fear. They should rise up in courage to continue speaking the truth.
And she's talking about, hold on,
what do you think?
She's talking about individual citizens expressing their First Amendment right. Jimmy Kimmel never lost his First Amendment right. And this is how they try to spin this crap and this garbage. Jimmy Kimmel still has a right to free speech. He can get on this platform, the YouTube, and doing exactly what I'm doing. I am expressing my First Amendment right. I'm not representing a national brand, a corporation. And these people are so perverting this that they're tying Jimmy Kimmel's free speech to the business decisions of a corporation, and they're absolutely foolish for doing it, and they're trying to brainwash you into thinking that that's exactly what the Trump administration is doing, which it's nowhere close to what it's even doing. Finish this clip up.
Think about what you're hearing from the White House there as we just get this news that Jimmy Kimmel will return to air tomorrow night.
Right. Well, see what the White House says. Everybody should speak up except the ones that the president doesn't like. He just barked at my former colleague, Jonathan Karl. Maybe we'll come after you.
Like he's a dog.
Because I don't like the content of your news coverage.
Idiot.
All of this is bedrock First Amendment rights that we all have. And I think they've overreached here.
Then Trump
Most
has a First
Americans,
Amendment right.
Even many who support President Trump did not like the kind of gangster talk that the head of the FCC said, yeah, you can do this the easy way, you can do it the hard way. And they understand how precious this right is, even
People are such
for
losers.
people that they disagree strongly with. There's good common sense about our First Amendment rights, and I think Trump
Common sense.
is running up against that.
Yeah, Senator Ted Cruz said it was out of Goodfellas. To
that.
your point there, Terry, thank you so much for being with us. Really
All right, Brett, that's
appreciate
enough of
it.
this. Look at this. I mean, again, they're spinning this to try to make themselves out to be the victim. Don't buy into it, guys. Stay strong, stay educated, stay tuned. We'll keep you updated on what's happening.